The reason why we started this video was because my stance has changed a bit on PEDs, and when I brought up the MMA difference, this is not MMA. It's just what it is. It's not MMA.
So
I think
what
that
were you saying?
I think the difference between, like, you have MMA and you have arm wrestling, and MMA, you get banned, you get fined, there's a huge slap on the wrist. And we don't have that in arm wrestling. It's kind of the wild, wild west, if you will, where you can kind of get away with murder, you can run whatever test levels you want, you can abuse PEDs if you want, and there's not any period of time, 8 weeks out or whatever, where you got to start cutting all that out. You know what I mean? You could do it basically. There are stories I've heard of WAF worlds of athletes literally hitting needles in the bathroom before they get up on the table. Like, it's literally what I would like to call the wild, wild west. I don't like that aspect of it. And the reason I say that is because I love my friends, and I love the sport, and I love people. And when you start to see it become a freak show and people start dying at 35, 38, like bodybuilding, I think there needs to be a little bit more awareness. And I can only imagine that's the route that we're going with the level of abuse that you can see from certain areas and certain aspects.
So do you think there should be two different leagues, like a drug tested and non-drug tested, or should it just be drug tested?
Well, I think, although yes, if you had a drug tested league, let's say, it's going to be less popular. Let's be honest. Just like anything else,
It's like natural body.
it's like powerlifting. Nobody cares about how strong a natural power lifter can lift. And another part of that is a lot of the sport today is the freaks, the Levons, and the body transformation of Hermes. And you look at the body transformation of Heracli and these people that, let's just be honest, it's very, very, very rare that someone's going to do that naturally and look like that at 165, 170 pounds, and now they're 210 and they're pure muscle. It doesn't always work like that. So you definitely need some help. And for those reasons, I don't think it's necessary. I'm a huge avid proponent of recovery and health. So I personally think before you start riddling your body with things to make you strong, you should start putting some things in your body that is already producing testosterone, BPC 157, these things that are already kind of naturally occurring throughout the body, and maybe your body's not producing them at such a high level. Well, let's just worry about those levels first. Let's worry about how good you are on the table, your movements, your angles, your vectors. And then when you know it to be a fact, like we've talked about me, when you know it to be a fact to where you're in the open class, you can't go back, you can't turn around, you're only getting older, maybe your extracurricular or recreational activities, if you will, push you back a little bit, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be, if you're going to compete at a high level in anything it is that you do, you should be treating your body with that level of respect. And I think that's the time in which it's okay for you to say, okay, do I love this enough to take that risk? Do I love this enough to push my body and to take some risks? You know, without risk, there is very little reward. And I love arm wrestling. I really do. And so we'll see. The reason why we started this video was because my stance has changed a bit on PEDs, and when I brought up the MMA difference, this is not MMA. It's just what it is. It's not MMA. We're not in that.
Why do you think all these guys are quitting arm wrestling nowadays? What's going on with that?
I think there's a lot of I think arm wrestling is a lot harder on your moral compass than a lot of people give it credit for. Obviously, it's really hard on your body, your joints and your ligaments and stuff, but I don't think people realize how hard it is on your everyday life, especially if you're training for this every day. Like you and me, you have someone who's training for this pretty consistently week in and week out. And then you have someone like Lewis, who he doesn't train much at all. He just kind of goes to practice every so often, maybe hits some blood flow, here or there, but really just enjoys it for the camaraderie, a little bit for the competition, those kind of things. When you're doing it day in and day out and you fail, or you don't hit the milestones, or you're feeling super strong and you pull something or you injure yourself. It's like I just said before, it's this game is such a game of waves and up and downs that the lows are really low and the highs are really high. And that definitely tests your mental fortitude as far as how much you really love this and how much you're going to stick around. And dude, I love arm wrestling just as much as the next guy, but I'm no exception to getting burnt out, getting tired, wanting a small break.
Didn't you at one point wanted to quit? Maybe in 2021 Arizona State.
Yeah.
I heard you.
I mean, dude, I'd be lying if I said it didn't happen recently again. When there's certain things in the sport that happen that you don't love or you don't like, you have to either adjust your life or you have to roll with the punches, you know? I don't ever want arm wrestling to be something that I don't do, but it might be something that I change in my priorities. You know, it might not be a number one on the list like it always is, but I do believe for the next 25 years, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be around, I'm going to be arm wrestling, I'm only going to get stronger, I'm only going to get better. Things like injuries happen in every sport that you do. Things like setbacks or losses, they come with competition, so you better get used to it. The mental ringer, you know, just makes you better, makes you stronger, so you can keep going.